Welcome back to our study called The Flood, and we're looking at Genesis chapter 7 in this study, and we've made it to verses 17 through 24, where we look how God cleans the world with a worldwide flood. Now, some people have argued for a local flood, but that falls apart on several different fronts. One, in verse 19, it says that all the high mountains under the whole heaven were covered. So how could you have just a local flood if all the high mountains under heaven were covered? That would mean that all the mountains were covered with water, and where are you going to go then that's not covered with water? How could it just be a local flood? So that doesn't make any sense. Number two, the flood lasted just over a year. That is a long time for just a local flood. Right? How could a local flood persist for over a year? We've never seen that before in a local flood, even a big local flood. The flood waters stayed at a high level for over a year. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, number three, it says that all flesh died that moved on the earth, not just in that location. So all flesh on the earth, that would be the whole earth. Wherever you're going to go on the earth, all flesh that lived on the earth, on the dry land, died. So a local flood wouldn't just do that. Number four, if it was a local event, why not just have Noah move to a new land like Abraham did? Why build a huge ship with space for all the kinds of animals? Wouldn't it have made more sense just to say, Noah, I'm going to have this giant parade of animals, and you're going to lead this giant parade, on the other side of the earth where you're going to live? That would have made sense. He had plenty of time. Why build a boat? Why build a ship if it's just a local flood? Anyway, that one doesn't make any sense. Number five, if it was just local, Peter's argument in 2 Peter 2 doesn't make any sense. He says the earth was formed out of water, and the world was deluged and perished, and the earth will be destroyed by fire. Are we to think that only a part of the world will be destroyed on the day of judgment, like it's a local judgment? The returning of Christ means that it's the end of the world. The old world is gone. He's going to create a new world. And the whole earth, it talks about the elements being melted by fire. Yeah, that can't be a local event. That's talking about a worldwide change. How about number 6 here? In Luke 17, Jesus says that people were eating and drinking and marrying and being given in marriage until the day Noah entered the ark. And the flood destroyed them all. So he's talking about all these different people that are getting married and marriage, eating and drinking. People are just doing normal things, and the flood destroyed them all. And here, all means all. He's talking about all the people. They all died in the flood. So all these and more I could point to all show us the fact that God flooded the entire earth just like it was back when he first created it, remember? And every land-dwelling creature, and probably a lot of the sea creatures as well, died. So that's the idea, that it was a worldwide flood. Also in this section, we see an appeal to God. Turn to 1 Peter 3:18 through 22 for a minute. 1 Peter 3:18 through 22. This is one of those abused passages of the Bible, but it does speak clearly of Peter's belief in the historical Noah and the worldwide flood. It also shows that, like Jesus, like what he said in Luke 17, that Noah and the flood was a type or a shadow of the end of the world and God's final judgment. John MacArthur said, Peter here uses baptism to refer to a figurative immersion into Christ as the ark of safety that will sail over the holocaust of judgment on the wicked. Noah and his family were immersed, not just in water, but in the world under divine judgment. All the while they were protected by being in the ark. God preserved them in the midst of the judgment, which is what he also does for all those who trust in Christ. God's final judgment will bring fire and fury on the world, destroying the entire universe. But the people of God will be protected and taken into eternal new heavens and new earth. 2 Peter 3:13. Peter made clear that he did not want readers to think he was referring to water baptism when he specifically said, not the removal of dirt from the flesh, 1 Peter 3:21. That he was actually referring to a spirituality when he wrote, "Baptism now saves," is also clear from the phrase, "an appeal to God for a good conscience through the resurrection of Jesus Christ." Verse 21. The only baptism that saves people is dry, the spiritual one into the death as well as the resurrection of Christ, of those who appeal to God to place them into a spiritual ark of salvation and safety.